Hi again. In this video I'm going to continue working on problems from practice problem set 3-5. In the first video on this practice problem set I was focused on conjunction. In the second video it was disjunction that was the focus, and now in this video and then a subsequent video conditional translations will be our focus. I'm going to pick up with number 17, which says, if mom's not happy, then I'm not happy. Let me first get the variable assignment. Remember, again, the variables have to stand for simple, complete, affirmative statements. So we'll take not out of what the variable letters stand for here, and just let P stand for mom's happy, and let Q stand for I'm happy. Now, we represent conditionals with an arrow in the language of truth functional logic. And unlike conjunction and disjunction, the order of the simpler parts matters to the truth value of a conditional statement. What comes before the arrow is called the antecedent. What comes after the arrow is called the consequent. And it's important that you not get an antecedent and a consequent switched, because if you do, you will have changed the meaning incorrectly in your translation. There are a couple of ways to remember antecedent, consequent, which is which. If you know Spanish, please pardon my bad pronunciation, but antes means before, and the antecedent comes before the arrow. Another way to remember this is that the letter A, the first letter in the word antecedent, comes before the letter C in the alphabet, and C is the first letter in the word consequent. Antecedent before consequent in your translation. Antecedent before the arrow. The word if introduces the antecedent of a conditional. So in number 17, the antecedent is mom's not happy. Well, mom's not happy would be the negation of P. The consequent is introduced here by the word then. And after the word then, we have I'm not happy. Well, I'm not happy, of course, is just the negation of I'm happy. So for our, given what we let P and Q stand for, we've got negation sign P, arrow, negation sign Q as our translation for 17. All right, let me go now to number 20, in which basketball player Rashad McCants says, whenever I'm feeling depressed or just need to get away, I go to the gym. The word whenever, and for that matter the word when, both work like the word if. That is, they introduce the antecedent of a conditional. So, but let's get our variables. Let P stand for I'm depressed. Let Q stand for I just need to get away. And now we need three variables for our translation. Picking up after the second comma, let R stand for I go to the gym. And he said, whenever P or Q, so the translation of P or Q has to go before the arrow in the antecedent position. Or, of course, gives us a wedge. Let's group that together inside of parentheses, and we get P wedge Q is the antecedent, and then R is by itself the consequent. It's important that I have these parentheses where I do. If I had P wedge open paren Q arrow R, that would be wrong. This would be a disjunction because the wedge would be the symbol outside of parentheses with one simple disjunct and another disjunct that was compound. But that's not correct. What is correct is that overall, Rashad McCants' statement was a conditional statement that had a simple consequent and had a disjunction as its antecedent. All right, let's go now to 23, which says, as long as we have strong deer numbers, the mountain lions mostly leave our pets and livestock alone. This begins with the phrase, as long as, and that phrase works just like the word if. That is to say, it introduces the antecedent of a conditional. Let's get our variables set up now. Let P stand for we have strong deer numbers. And then what comes after we have strong deer numbers in the original sentence is compound. Mountain lions mostly leave our pets and livestock alone. And, of course, is signaling conjunction. So the consequent of this conditional is going to be a conjunction. We'll need two more variable assignments then, one for each conjunct. One of them would be the mountain lions mostly leave our pets alone. And then the other variable will stand for the mountain lions mostly leave our livestock alone. I hope you notice how the statements that we've let Q and R stand for were grouped together in the original. Clearly, P by itself is the antecedent here. If we have strong deer numbers, then these things both happen. So group Q ampersand R together inside of parentheses to make explicit that this conjunction is the consequent and P by itself is the antecedent. In this video, let me just do one more problem with you, and that's number 24, which says bamboo will rot quickly if left in contact with soil. The word if is our key here. Now, in number 17, the sentence started with if. In number 24, if is in the middle of the sentence. But the placement or position of the word if in these sentences makes absolutely zero difference to our translation. The word if introduces the antecedent, so I take whatever's after it and put that before the arrow. Let me get my variables set up for this one. Tense does not matter within the language of true functional logic, so I've let P stand for present tense, just because it involved less writing, and I'm getting a little tired of writing on this board. If you left it in the future tense, your answer would be fine too. Okay, we do an intermediate step here. We have P if Q. As I said a moment ago before doing the variables for this problem, if introduces the antecedent, so I take whatever is after if and I put it in the antecedent position, which means I put it before the arrow. And then whatever's left over, obviously, has to be the consequent. So with this assignment of variables, we would get Q arrow P for this. P arrow Q, if this is what the variables stand for, P arrow Q would be an incorrect translation for number 24. All right, I'll resume in just a moment in another video. Talk to you soon.